August 1944, the outskirts of Warsaw. A young resistance fighter crawled through a narrow hallway inside an abandoned apartment block, listening for German patrols outside. The floorboards felt strangely loose under his elbows. He shifted his weight forward and froze. A faint metallic click echoed beneath him. Not a gunshot, not a grenade pin. Something much worse, a jumping mine rigged to detonate at waist height. Moments later, the explosion tore through the hallway, shattering plaster and sending dust billowing into the street. A single trap, built from scraps, springs, and stolen explosives, stopped an entire resistance cell from escaping. World War II is remembered for armies of millions, fleets of tanks, and oceans filled with steel. But scattered between those grand battles were small, silent creations, traps engineered to maim, terrify, delay, and kill with brutal efficiency. And today we break down 5 of the deadliest traps of the war, some famous, some almost forgotten, all of them terrifyingly effective. To Allied soldiers, it was simply known as the Bouncing Betty. To the Germans, it was the Shrapnel Mine 35. To both sides, it was the most feared anti-personnel device of the entire war. What made it terrifying? Unlike regular landmines that exploded underground, the S-mine launched itself 80 to 120 centimeters into the air before detonating, exactly at the height of a soldier's torso. The blast scattered hundreds of steel balls at nearly 4,000 feet per second, shredding anything within a 20-yard radius. Little-known fact: declassified U.S. Army reports from 1944 show that in certain sectors of Normandy, over 40% of all Allied infantry casualties during the first 2 weeks came from S-mines alone. Not bullets, not artillery, just this one trap. Even worse, many S-mines were double-fused. Stepping off the pressure plate triggered the timed charge, giving no chance to escape. Engineers trying to defuse them often went home in pieces. It wasn't a trap, it was a sentence. Tripwire grenades existed before World War II, but the Germans perfected the system using their iconic Model 24 steel hand granite, the potato masher. How it worked: a thin piano wire line, nearly invisible at night, was strung across doorways, forest paths, trenches, and cellar entrances. When pulled, the handle of the grenade ignited the fuse instantly. No warning, no time to react, just a deafening blast in a confined space. Rare verified fact: during the Battle of Monte Cassino, Polish Second Corps recorded entire squads lost because German paratroopers booby-trapped the backs of corpses with tripwire grenades. When Allied soldiers attempted to recover the bodies, the line snapped and detonated. Even worse were the double traps: tripwire attached to a grenade tied to another grenade buried below it. Anyone who survived the first blast was finished by the second. Tripwire grenades didn't just kill, they created paranoia. Every door could be the last. Every shadow could hide a wire. While Europe fought with steel and explosives, the Pacific introduced a trap ancient in concept but horrifying in execution: the poisoned bamboo stake pit, known among U.S. Marines as the lullaby pit, because stepping into one often meant your war and your life were over. Construction: Japanese engineers dug narrow pits, lined them with sharpened bamboo spikes, and coated the tips in. Decaying animal remains, sewage, or tropical bacteria-rich mud. The goal wasn't instant death, it was infection. Historical fact: according to U.S. Navy medical records from the Solomon Islands, over 60% of Marines who fell into a stake pit developed severe infections, many requiring leg amputation. Some died days later from septic shock. Worse still were the spring traps: flexible bamboo poles fitted with spikes, rigged to snap upward into a soldier's chest or face when a vine was tripped. In thick jungle, where visibility was measured in feet, these traps were as feared as enemy snipers. No trap in World War II was as insidious or as creative as the disguised explosive. The Germans, Soviets, and resistance movements all used them ruthlessly. These devices looked harmless: helmets, ammo crates, radios, rifles, abandoned rucksacks, even chocolate bars. Yes, a real MI5 confirmed Nazi device. Documented fact: MI5 archives released in 2007 confirmed the German Abwehr developed a chocolate bar bomb containing a steel core explosive. When broken like normal chocolate, a hidden spring detonated the charge after a few seconds. More commonly, soldiers encountered booby-trapped maps that exploded when opened, rigged wine bottles that detonated when lifted, grenades hidden under corpses, designed to kill grave detail recovery teams, explosive lure pistols with reversed firing pins. The most terrifying? A Soviet NKVD device disguised as a child's toy deployed during the siege of Odessa. When picked up, the internal fuse ignited instantly. These traps weren't meant to just kill soldiers. They were meant to break morale. In Stalingrad, Warsaw, Berlin, and Manila, urban warfare forced soldiers to fight through apartments, attics, and sewers. Here they encountered one of the most devastating ambush traps ever built, the double-trap mouse hole. How it worked. As infantry blasted through walls to create new pathways, called mouse holes, enemy engineers set traps inside. First trap, a small explosive at the base of the hole, triggered by a pressure plate. Second trap, a larger charge hidden behind a cupboard or loose bricks, timed to explode after the squad entered. Verified account. Soviet after-action reports from the Battle of Stalingrad describe entire platoons lost within seconds after entering booby-trapped mouse holes planted by German pioneers. One survivor recalled, "The first explosion knocked us off our feet. The second buried the room. Only two of us crawled out through the dust." This trap was engineered to kill in layers. The first explosion cripples, the second destroys. It was the perfect urban nightmare. Isaro. When we think of World War II, we imagine grand offensives, tank columns, battleships, and dogfights in the sky. But beneath that scale, hidden in forests, jungles, attics, and cellars, lay thousands of small, silent inventions, each one capable of shaping battles far beyond its size. They slowed armies. They changed plans. They created fear no bullet could match. And long after the uniforms were folded away and the cities rebuilt, these traps remain a stark reminder of a brutal truth. Victory is never clean. It is carved through caution, creativity, and the quiet terror of the unseen. The war ended, but its traps, both literal and symbolic, continue to warn us about the price of survival and the dark ingenuity humans summon when pushed to the edge. If you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe for more hidden World War II stories.